It's not working anymore. Dim light. Maybe low. It's on, but it's super, that red light is like super dim. I mean, the battery.
Changed the battery yesterday.
It's on now.
We're hot now. Thank you. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the County Commission meeting of December 8th, 2022. I'd like to call this a meeting to order and have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Markwart,
Here.
Commissioner Matherly,
Here.
Commissioner DuBois.
Here.
All right. Now, if you'll please stand for the invocation. Thank you, Father, for gathering us here today. As we enter into the holy season, we ask for your wisdom and discernment at this meeting. Help us to stay focused on the issues that will help our county move forward. Please be with the doctors and Commissioner Matherly and see him safely through his upcoming surgery and recovery. I pray that we stay focused on the reason that we celebrate Christmas, your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Will you follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the dear symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
All right, so now we're going to do some presentations of Employee Service Awards. So if you're here, please come up and get your award. And we've got quite a few. Michael Edwards, Toby Hood, Michael Hill, Melissa Barraza, William Farmer, Bill, Orlando Sanchez, Carlos de la Cruz, Benjamin Beatty, Bradford Norquist, Robert Hood, David Carter, Rebecca Gomez, James Garcia, Diane Sheehan, Amanda Marquez, Mark Quick, Carol Eisenberg, Daniel Aragon, Matthew Maribal. All these people are working.
They're busy out working on next year's.
That's why they're getting service awards. Marcus Cerna, Laura Whiteside. Yay! Woohoo! And this is for 15 years, so that's a pretty big deal.
That's a big one.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And we have another one, Rachel Black. And she also has 15 years.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Salvador Salcido, Fernando Visquera, Michelle Carroll. Yay, another one. And this is 20 years. It's a big deal. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And the last one, Rudy Gabaldon. Okay, we'll make sure and get these to them. Okay, we're going to pull several items from the agenda before we approve that. On the consent agenda, we're going to pull number 3 for discussion, and number 9 for discussion. And under new business, we're gonna pull number 21 until after executive session. And number 22, we're pulling period because those insurance quotes haven't come in yet. Yeah, 21 and 22 on new business. And 3 and 9 on the consent agenda. Okay, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we're gonna go on to our sheriff's office report.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Morning, Chair
David Black, Otero County Sheriff. For November, Otero County Sheriff's Office deputies responded to 2,581 calls for service, generated 200 investigative reports, had 43 traffic citations, conducted 66 traffic crash investigations, resulted in 46 arrests, and 4 either summons or warrants were issued. Narcotics, he had 1 search warrant, had 17 case reports, 2 vehicles seized, 1 firearm seized, 3 fugitives were apprehended. They had 3 checkpoint cases out at the Border Patrol checkpoints. 11.4 grams of meth was seized, 1 gram of heroin, 26.5 grams of cocaine, and 26 fentanyl pills. Total about $17,000 worth of narcotics. In our special events, our community relations events, we participated in several events to include, we did another trunk or treat at Yucca Heights in Chaparral. It was held on November 1st due to a threat at the school on Halloween, so we went and helped them with it the next day. And we did hold the 2 DARE graduations, one at the elementary school in Chaparral and one at the La Luz Elementary. Both of those were on November 1st. November 9th, we held a groundbreaking ceremony at our dispatch facility to kick off the construction of the new consolidated dispatch center. Looking forward to that getting going and getting done. Also in November, I attended a meeting in Sierra Vista, Arizona, where we listened to a presentation on what they call the SABRE project. The SABRE project is a camera system which is installed all across the southern border. They're trying to get it from Brownsville all the way to California. We as the New Mexico Sheriff's Association are working with numerous entities, legislators and stuff like that to help try to get this expanded further. It's about 10 miles into New Mexico. We're looking at trying to get it all the way to the sanitary supportive entry. 29th of November, attended a Chaparral meeting hosted by the Colquitt family and it's just a neat meeting where we all get to kind of talk about future needs with the Chaparral community, some ideas and explain some of the things, like Commissioner Madley and I have been kind of working on that building down there, try to come up with funding for that. So training for the month of November consisted of instructor development class, also completed firearms qualifications to ensure all deputies have met the annual requirements. In our Manning, Deputy Benjamin Clark graduated the academy November 15th. We have started him in his field training program, so about 12 to 14 weeks he'll hopefully be on his own. On the 3 deputies I told you about, Deputy Lauder, Perez, and Aguirre started with the Sheriff's Office. They are currently attending pre-academy training. They are being prepped to attend the academy starting 26th of January. We'll send all 3 of those to the Law Enforcement Academy. And I think we had offered a job to Marnie Singer as a HIDA secretary. She accepted that job. She has been thrown to the wolves now, so she's coming in doing a lot, but she is doing exceptionally well with handling all of our HIDA paperwork. Matthew Madrid has been offered a deputy position. He's currently with the Grant County Sheriff's Office. but he will be starting with us on December the 12th. The one deputy position we have open will soon be filled shortly after the 13th of December. I've got this person will be doing their psych eval on the 13th, and hopefully right after that we will get him on board. I did have one community services officer resign this month. I've got 4 applications so far for that position, so we're hoping to get it filled pretty quick. So as it stands right now, I have the one community services officer position open, and I got 1 part-time dispatch open. As far as our deputies and stuff, we are fully staffed right now. On our vehicles, we do have 6 vehicles that are, I would say, 80% upfitted right now with all the emergency equipment. We got some problems with lead times on radios. They take a certain chip that the whole world is having problems with right now. So as soon as we get those radios in, we got a meeting with them on the 14th. Hopefully they'll bring us some radios on the 14th. We do have 10 Tahoes on order. Was hoping to have 5 of them picked up this week sometime, but they're not quite, they're being transferred from Denver, Colorado to Albuquerque. So as soon as they get them down here, we'll go pick up half of them. The other half will be the end of December. So hopefully we'll get some new vehicles on the road, and we got a few that we desperately need to get rid of. So that is all I got. I'll stand for questions.
Well, you know I have my usual,
Yes, sir.
and I was just wondering what the status is on Rose Street.
We have,
A letter went out this week, so I'll give them 30 days, and if there's not compliance, then we'll summon them to court.
Okay.
it's moving slowly but surely.
Well, that is a slow train.
Yes, it is.
Would you like to share any more information with us on that conference you went to out in Arizona about what you saw at the border? Because I found that interesting about the floodgates and everything.
Yeah, we did go to the border, to the wall, went out and looked at it and stuff. We were at the Border Patrol headquarters in Naco. We went down and kind of looked. What was interesting was you've got this huge wall up there, and you've got floodgates about every, I'd say 300 yards. All the floodgates are open. That's why they're having issues over there is somebody wants to cross through that fence, they go to a floodgate, it's wide open, you cross over and go. They've got lots of cameras where they are viewing those areas. They're making a lot of apprehensions, but they're also having a lot of gotaways and stuff. So it's tough when you have a wall, but it has gaping holes in it.
Okay. That's all I have. Do you have anything?
Your dispatcher is required to be bilingual. I don't know, I'm asking.
No, not required to.
But helpful?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
very helpful.
Just a question.
We have several that are, but we also have a program that if we get into, we receive a call and we do not have a bilingual person in there, we have a number we can call and get a translator on the phone. They can translate for us real time right then.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Black.
Morning, Commissioners. Matt Clark, Emergency Services Director.
Good morning.
Good morning. For October, our fire departments responded to 225 calls, 24 fires, 15 of them were structure fires. And then 155 were EMS related. Code enforcement, we have 63 new cases, 17 were solid waste, 23 illegal burns. We've closed 25 cases so far. We did 1 fire inspection on a facility and 5 fire investigations. I attended the job fair the beginning of November. I had the hardest sell to try and recruit people for free, but we did make 12 contacts and we're hopeful to get at least 1 out of that. So we're still trying to get people to come in. And with that, if you have any questions.
I have Two things, not really questions. One, I want to just thank you, Matt. You can tell your fire department, the volunteers that were at the burning of the bull, they did a very professional job on taking care of the fire and stuff when they were making sure everything was done. And then also, I went over, Tom and I went over to the BLM office and had a meeting over there, and there's been discussion that they've been having with Jacob on trying to work together on a lot of the dumping issues. I'm glad to hear that. Let me put it that way, that we're trying to work together on this.
Right.
So the progress is being made. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and I'll see you next week
Yes, ma'am.
in Cloud Crop.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Tom Porter, Otero County Road Department. So for the month of November, we finished hauling on Mitchell Tank, Walker Canyon, and Bell Canyon. We hauled on 506 and on Heather Road. We finished our patching up on 16 Springs for the winter, along with another blitz down in Chaparral, La Luz, and the Bent area. We finished the spraying program the first part of November, and we've been doing brush work throughout the county. We had 2 snow events that we responded to, one right after the day after Thanksgiving. We finished the little ditch project over there off of Becky, and we've begun the excavation over off of Appler for that road project.
You've been busy again.
Mhm.
Well, I don't have it. I'll have questions, but it'll be a later item.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have any?
I'm good, thank
Okay,
you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Tom.
Tom.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Trent Parker, Project
Morning.
Manager.
Good morning.
First job is the detention center was substantially completed November 10th. All punch items have been put into formal list and submitted to the contractor, and they have till the end of the year to complete all remaining items. So we're looking forward to
Hallelujah.
having that one completely done. Chin's Phase 3, we're still held up on it. DFA still has it under review. Until we get the approval for that, the funds haven't been released to us, so we have to sit and wait. We've inquired on it and haven't received any responses to date. The EOC, the flooring, LVT flooring was installed this month, and the ceilings were all padded out. We're waiting on some electrical components, some main panels that are being switched out. We originally were supposed to receive those in November. That ship sailed. We're now being told the end of December, so we're looking at getting those hopefully in by then. That project's not scheduled to be complete till March, so we're still within schedule, but we would like to be able to get that one wrapped up and closed out. But the dispatch center, better known as PSAP, the project's actually named E911 expansion. The notice to proceed on it was November 28. The contractor has been submitting background consent forms and everything that's required for that project, and so those are all being submitted, and they're also started all of their material submittals for approval so that we can start mobilizing to the project and begin that project. New one that we've been working on is the road shop building. It's a 5-bay building, 2 bays for welding for the road shop and 3 additional bays for buildings and grounds to utilize. Tom, to try to save a little bit of money, we had his crews build the pad for it. That was all completed yesterday. We have the agreement signed with White Sands Construction that we're going to use the state pricing agreement under their state contract to do the building. It seemed like the most feasible and cheapest route for the amount of money that we had in the budget. So right now we're $10,000 under budget of what we'd budgeted to get the project complete. So
That's good.
That'll be starting
That's
soon. Courthouse is another one we've been working on. I've been working in conjunction with Eric with Buildings and Grounds. Is we went in and did a new roof coating on all the front part of the existing part of the building or original building. And we also contracted to have all the EIFS around the entire building painted and sealed and just kind of updated. All the brick that was aging and weather was starting to get to, we sealed all of it up, and so all of that come with a 20-year warranty. And this is actually the same product that we recommended for the prison pod roofs, and it's a pretty good product. I'm pretty impressed with the durability of it. Another one that we have upcoming that's in our sights is Buildings and Grounds got with me about starting to work on the remodel of the restrooms of the Flickinger Center, and so we're going to be meeting with a contractor about that next week to get in there and see what kind of time frame we're looking at. We're trying to not close those restrooms any longer than possible, so we're trying to figure the best way to go about it to get in and out and get that project complete.
And you work with the staff over there on their scheduling on when they have
No,
pretty
we
busy
wanted to
time?
meet with the contractor first and see what kind of timeline, see how aggressive a timeline we can get, and then we wanted to get with the staff over there to find a good time to get in there. But we wanted to give them a time frame of what it was going to take us to complete it.
I had a question on the roof on the detention center. I think you mentioned at the last meeting it had a 15-year guarantee.
Down at the prison, Otero County Prison?
Sorry.
Yeah, well, there's several different options. The cheapest option was a coating with a 15-year warranty.
Right.
Then there was one that was a 20-year warranty where they go in and reinforce around all the curbings of the AC units, skylights, stuff like that, and around the edges, and that was a 20-year warranty. It was a little bit more money, and then they have a 30-year warranty option that is called
But
a
I thought you
recap.
said 15. I thought
Mhm.
that's what you
Yes,
said.
yeah.
So what will that entail? Will it cover the roof, or is there contingencies that it won't cover?
No, it'll cover
Okay.
the entire roof.
Okay.
What they'll do, if we were to go that route, they would go in and do a infrared scan of both roofs, pod roofs,
Sure.
to look for moisture, and we would pinpoint how many areas that might have moisture damage, if there is any. We're not sure. We know on the east pod, there's probably some areas that would need to be completely replaced, but it wouldn't be an entire replacement roof.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trent, at the detention center out here, is White Sands, are they gonna leave their job trailer and stuff there until after the 30-day deal, or are they gonna get?
They're
that
planning
stuff
on
cleaned?
taking it out very last, so that it'll be the last thing to leave.
And in those containers, are those our containers, or whose containers are those on the west side, behind the parking lot where the cars are?
Oh, that's all been removed.
Oh,
That
okay.
was a shipping container that we borrowed from the road shop to store stuff in, because we had minimal room during the biggest part of the construction, but all of that's been cleared out. The temporary buildings that were out front, those are the detention center buildings. Those were relocated back around by the new receiving area.
Oh, okay.
All right. Is that it?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Trent.
Thank, good morning.
Morning.
Otero County Detention Center Interim Director, Nina Sisler. So today's, our average population for November was 189. Our total population today is 171. In-house, we have 90. We have 75 males, 15 females. We have presently, due to staff, Otero Prison, 22 are housed there. Hudspeth County, we have 16. Lincoln County, 7. Donna County, we have 19. On furlough or treatment programs, we have 11 there. We have one housed at Department of Corrections for safekeeping, and 2 are at other counties for court temporarily. We have 3 male juveniles housed at Donna Ana County. Going to video courts inside, we've done 37 for municipal, magistrate court 90, district court 103. As far as staffing, we have hired 2 full-time detention officers. 1 previous employee came back, so we have 2 full-time, 1 full-time office specialist. Also, I hired a captain, full-time course, and we have an interview on tomorrow for another full-time detention officer. We did have 1 retire and 1 that resigned that was hired by adult probation. We did transport 10 males to the Central New Mexico Correctional Facility in Los Lunas in November. We had 2 females that were transported to Western New Mexico Correctional Facility in Grants. Tomorrow we are transporting 9 to the Central New Mexico Correctional Facility in Los Lunas. And today, I believe, there are 12 going to Hudspeth County.
The in-house numbers are up a little bit from last time. Is that just new ones that's coming in, or are we getting some back that we just?
Well, we have some that come back from court for jury trials. I know that they were vacated on Monday, I believe, due to something with COVID. So they vacated, so all the individuals that we did bring back for court are in our facility. We do want to take them back with court staff, and the sheriff's office is picking up a lot of the transport, so we have to balance it and bring back as we can. Hopefully I'll have the staffing. A lot of staff have been volunteering for the inside courts because the officer that did retire was a transport officer. So we're down to 1.5, I mean, not even a half, because she's doing booking supervisory kind of detail. So she's doing both. So a lot of people have been gladly volunteering to assist with court in facility. And so, or transports to pick up out of other counties to bring them back for court or release. So
So it sounds like you have had some luck in getting some new employees. I mean,
Yes,
not a
ma'am.
ton, but at least it's a start.
yes, and we do have an interview tomorrow, so I have high hopes. It's increasing slowly,
Yes.
but it's getting way better than what it was.
Good, that's
So,
good. And things are
it's
going good with Carolyn gone?
I'm doing my best. It's a new,
Drinking from a fire hose.
yeah, but take one day at a time. Each day is a new day, so I just take one day at a time and deal with things as it comes. So
Okay.
doing the best I can.
Okay, all right.
Any questions? Good.
No,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
I think the last time last month you spoke, you were 30
4.
officers
Now we-
short.
Right, now.
Are you able to run the facility efficiently with 30 less officers?
We have all of them, a lot of inmates out of county right now.
Uh-huh.
So that we're trying to reduce the population in-house so that it can function operational wise, and it's working.
Well, I hope you can get some more.
Yeah, we are. I mean, it
Okay.
has increased.
Because that's a difficult job.
Yes,
I'm
it
sure.
is. It is.
All right,
And
thank
they're
you.
23, so it
All right.
is.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to the consent agenda, and we pulled 3 and 9, so we'll talk about those at the end. Okay, number 1, request approval of accounts payable bills list BL 17, 18, 19.1, 19, and 20. Number 2, request approval of November 10th, 2022 regular meeting minutes. And then we're pulling 3, so we'll skip to 4. Request approval of resolution number 12-08-22/111-27 budget adjustments. Number 5, request approval of resolution number 12-08-22/111-28 Timberon Guardrail Project. Number 6, request approval of resolution number 12-08-2022/111-29 to auction vehicles through govdeals.com. Number 7, request approval of the renewal of an agreement between Otero County and Management Associates Incorporated for all facets of labor relations and human resources on an as-needed basis, $150 an hour. Number 8, request approval of a forbearance agreement between U.S. Bank, Otero County, and MTC. Skipping number 9. Number 10, request approval of the 2023 commission meeting schedule. Number 11, request approval of an agreement between Operational Consultants, Southern Oasis Incorporated in Otero County. Number 12, request approval to accept the road maintenance for 3DD subdivision located in Chaparral, Otero County, New Mexico. Number 13, request approval to accept the road maintenance for Desert Hill subdivision Phase 1 in Chaparral, Otero County, New Mexico. Number 14, request approval of the renewal of an agreement between Otero County and the Village of Tularosa for the disposal of Tularosa solid waste at the Otero County Convenience Center. And number 15, request approval to utilize Houston-Galveston Area Council HGAC contract to purchase a new apparatus for Alexis Fire from Alexis Fire Equipment for High Rolls and Alamo West Volunteer Fire Departments. Okay, want to talk about these before we vote on the rest of them?
Sure.
Okay. Stephanie, you wanted to pull number 3?
Yeah,
For
because I
discussion.
had put on the agenda that I wanted to talk about the Open Meetings Act. According to the Open Meetings Act, this room is not in compliance. And I noticed today you didn't have the deputies out there giving out numbers. I don't know what that's about, but anyway. So when you get to 28, that's all the people that can be in this room. I was told that the room was measured. I said, was it a fire marshal decision? Doesn't matter. The Open Meetings Act says you must allow anybody that wants to come and participate, be at the meeting, should be allowed to do so, and you make all accoutrements to that, if it's audio or whatever it is, for them to participate. So I just don't, Mr. Matherly had said that to go to 5 commissioners, we'd have to make the room bigger. Well, guess what? The room's not big enough now with 3. So that's my decision. We need to go by, and the manager has a thing there that we make a resolution to comply. We can't comply. The room's too small. My opinion. No, not my opinion. It's the Open Meetings Act's opinion. That's a law. It says shall. The room shall be big enough to entertain anybody that wants to come and participate. Not may, shall. So it's law.
Do you have any comments on that?
Just a minute.
Okay.
That's a very open gray area because Otero County has 66,000 people in it, almost. There's not a building around that would accommodate that amount of people that would come in, so I'm kind of a
Can you
little bit
speak
on the...
up a little, sir? I can't hear you.
Can you turn it up so she can hear?
My ears are clogged up. Sorry.
That's a very gray area. Otero County has almost 66,000 people in it, 65 something. If all those people wanted to come to one meeting, there's not a building in this county anywhere that would accommodate as per the fire marshal and the regulations for that. One of the ways that I see that you could probably adapt to this problem right here is if you have something that you're wanting to talk about, you need to sign up to get put onto the agenda. Then you have every right to be here. There's some days you come in here and there's 9 people sitting out there, and then there's some days you come in that there's a line out the front door. So it's a very hard thing to try to determine. And then on agenda item 28 or 26, the one that you had put on the numbers, that will all be explained at that time on the amount that can be into this room. I did find out after We had our last discussion on the 5 commissioners. Even if we expanded the walls that were, that we had talked about on the construction, our number would still be 49, is that correct on the total? With what Matt was saying, we couldn't go?
I don't know what Matt reported on that. I wasn't informed.
Yeah, it may have been with Matt and I discussing on that. So it's a very gray area, but we will talk about that when on the agenda item when that comes up on the discussion on the room size. So there's a lot of areas on the Open Meetings Act. I understand that it's everybody's public right to be able to come in and speak. Like I say, the only way I can see you do that to assure you a position to speak is to sign it and get put on the agenda.
Actually, Commissioner, there's no right to speak. There's only a right to attend.
And listen, that's correct.
But it does not trump the fire code. Safety and fire code are going to guide how many people can be in a room. The Open Meetings Act says people can attend. That is accomplished through allowing the maximum amount of people that can safely, per the fire code, be in the room, and then others can attend via the live stream. But the Open Meeting Act doesn't require you to have a room that can accommodate hundreds of people.
Commissioner Matherly, can we have a reading of that resolution? Can somebody read it? I don't know what it says. That's why I asked to have it pulled.
I can read it, it's long. Okay. Resolution number 12-8-22/111-26, 2023 compliance with the New Mexico Open Meetings Act. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Otero shares the common belief that the democratic ideal is best served by a well-informed public, and whereas the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Otero is of the unanimous opinion that its business should be conducted in full public view, and that their actions should be taken openly, and that their deliberations should be subject to public scrutiny, and whereas the Open Meetings Act, NMSA 1978 10-15-1 through 10-15-4, requires that the Board of County Commissioners to conduct the business of the county by vote and to form public policy in public meetings held after reasonable notice is given to the public of each of such meetings as determined on an annual basis by the Board of County Commissioners. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Otero that, number 1, regular meetings of the Board of County Commissioners of Otero County shall be held pursuant to the schedule attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference. In the event circumstances require the rescheduling of a regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, notice of such scheduled meetings shall be given as herein provided. Notices of these meetings shall be given once a month, not less than 5 days prior to the first meeting in each month. The 5-day period shall begin to run upon the delivery of notice to the media as set forth in paragraph 5 below. A proposed agenda will be available during the week before a meeting, a minimum of 72 hours prior to the start of the meeting, and may be obtained from the county manager's office located at 1101 New York Avenue, room 106, Alamogordo, New Mexico. In an event of an emergency meeting as set forth in paragraph 3 below, the agenda will be published at the same time as the notice calling the emergency meeting is published. The Board of County Commissioners, in accordance with law, will not take action on any item not including on the agenda unless such business constitutes an emergency in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. From time to time, the Board of County Commissioners may schedule its meetings in various communities and regions of the county in order to serve public specific local concerns or interests. In such an event, the Board will endeavor to provide accommodation to persons who may have to travel longer distances to have their matters heard by the Board of County Commissioners. Number 2, pursuant to NMSA 1978 10-15-1C, any commissioner of the Board of County Commissioners may participate in a meeting of the Board of County Commissioners by means of a conference, telephone, or similar communications equipment when it is otherwise difficult or impossible for the commissioner to attend the meeting in person. The commissioner shall be identified when speaking and be able to hear all of the other commissioners and any member of the public who speaks during the meeting. Number 3, special meetings of the Board of County Commissioners of Otero County may be called by any member of the board, provided that a quorum of the Board of County Commissioners can be assembled. and shall require a minimum of 72 hours notice to the media as set forth in paragraph 7 below. Number 4, pursuant to NMSA 1978-10-15-1F, emergency meetings of the Board of County Commissioners of Otero County may be called by any member of the board, provided that a quorum of Board of County Commissioners can be assembled, and shall require 3 hours notice to the media as set forth in paragraph 7 below. The Board of County Commissioners of Otero County will report to the New Mexico Attorney General's office the action taken and the circumstances creating the emergency within 10 days of taking action on an emergency matter. Number 5, pursuant to NMSA 1978-10-15-1H1-8, the Board of County Commissioners may hold an executive session closing the meeting to the public, or the Board of County Commissioners may call a separate closed executive session meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. If an executive session is called during an open meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, the chairperson of the Board of County Commissioners shall make a motion to hold an executive session, and such motion must be approved by a majority vote of the quorum. The Board of County Commissioners' motion to hold the executive session shall cite the authority for the closure, NMSA 1978-10-15-1H1-8, and state the matters to be discussed. Only the matters stated in the Board of County Commissioners' motion prior to the closure may be discussed in the executive session. If the executive session is called for when the Board of County Commissioners is not an open Board of County Commissioners meeting, the executive session of the Board of County Commissioners shall require a minimum of 72 hours notice to the media as set forth in paragraph 7, and such notice shall cite the authority for closure, NMSA 1978-10-15-1H1-8, and the state matters to be discussed. Following the completion of any executive session during an open meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, the chairperson for the Board of County Commissioners shall state the matters discussed in the executive limited only to those matters specified in the motion for executive session, the Board of County Commissioners. The minutes of the open Board of County Commissioners meeting shall state the matters discussed in the executive session were limited only to those matters specified in the motion for executive session of the Board of County Commissioners. Following the completion of any executive session that was separately scheduled by the Board of County Commissioners in the next open meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, the chairperson for the Board of County Commissioners shall state the matters discussed in the executive session were limited only to those matters specified in the notice of the separate executive session of the Board of County Commissioners. The minutes of the open Board of County Commissioners meeting shall state the matters discussed in the executive session were limited only to those matters specified in the notice of the separate executive session of the Board of County Commissioners. Number 6, informal work sessions may be called by agreement of the Board of County Commissioners and shall require a minimum of 72 hours notice to the media as set forth in paragraph 5, and informal work sessions shall always be open to the public. The board shall not formulate public policy or take action by vote at an informal work session. In addition, the Board of County Commissioners herewith serves notice to the public that during any meeting of the board may adjourn into an informal work session for the purpose of lunch or dinner. During the meal, the informal work session may be conducted provided that no public policy shall be formulated nor business conducted by vote. The media and public are invited to attend these sessions at their own expense. Number 7, notice is required by this resolution for regular, special, and/or work session meetings of the Board of County Commissioners of Otero County shall be provided by delivering a news release to the following media organizations: the Alamogordo Daily News, television stations Channel 63, radio station KPSA, radio station KINN, radio station KYEE, radio station KZZX, radio station KALH, the Mountain Monthly, Tularosa Basin, Holloman Sunburst, and any other media that wishes to be notified. In addition, notice of regular, special, and emergency sessions shall be posted in the lobby of the Otero County Administration Building. In the event an emergency or special meeting is called, notice shall be by telephone to the above listed media organizations. The Board of County Commissioners reserves the right to utilize legal publications as notice of meetings where circumstances and/or law require such notice. Number 8, the county clerk shall be responsible for drafting and delivery of all notices required herein, and the county clerk shall develop a system for safekeeping of proof of all notices required by this resolution. Telephonic notice shall be noted by a certificate of the clerk and/or her designee that each media organization has been contacted by telephone. Number 9, the Board of County Commissioners hereby adopts the new Robert's Rules of Order, Mary A. DeVries, 1989, and its procedure rulings for conducting its meetings. Resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Otero County in regular session on this 8th day of December, 2022.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
May I ask a question regarding what you just read?
Sure.
I noticed that in that long resolution that you just read, that there was no provision that if you attended via like the live stream, that there was no way to communicate if you wanted to make a comment. So, in other words, if the room is full and you go home, during that 3 minutes, there's no way to make a comment. So I don't know if that would help accommodate the fact that the room is small, that if we had a way of making comments if we weren't here. It's just a thought.
Thank you.
May I make a comment
Sure.
as well? Hello, I'm Donna Turnbull. I had made this comment in the past because there have been hot issues that more people would want to attend. And at the very least, if you could accommodate 3 seats within this room for people that want to put their name on the clipboard and speak for 3 minutes. And then it could be just a revolving, they can wait outside, but yet they wouldn't be turned down to express a 3-minute opinion about an issue. If you just reserved 3 of those 28 seats to let people rotate in and out, if they could notify you ahead of time that they'd like to make a comment about something, I think at the very least that would help utilize a smaller venue and still accommodate the voters of Otero County being able to comment about whatever the issues are.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Donna Swanson, and I'm sorry to hear, Mr. Matherly, that you'll be undergoing surgery. I hope everything is fine.
Hope so too.
The comment is that 28 are allowed in the room, and I know you've handed out tickets, and today we have 35 in the room, and we have 12 empty open seats. We did have at least 37 in this room. So I have noticed during your meetings that with the rule in place of 28 tickets, there's always empty seats, and I've asked to attend and I was told no. I said, I see there are open seats, and I was told no, I cannot attend. So I think that is an issue, and I think you should think about it, and I still think we should have 5 versus 3 commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we ready to move on to number 9?
Yeah.
Okay, this is for the holiday schedule, and the reason I wanted to discuss it is I noticed that there's 2 more days have been added onto this from last year.
That is correct. The federal government added the Juneteenth holiday, which we accommodate and adopt the federal holiday system.
Right.
So that was added for that reason. And then in addition, the managers affiliate last year started sharing each other's holiday calendars, just kind of see what everybody's doing. And there were quite a few that do an employee appreciation day. Of course, you know, we can't hand out bonuses, we can't give you a day off on your birthday, but there are other counties that do an employee appreciation day that give the employees an additional holiday, so to say, in honor of them. And that is something I wanted to bring to the board and see if you'd consider it.
I have never heard of that before. My only concern with it is, I mean, to add the Juneteenth, I get that, that's a federal holiday. But an employees appreciation day, if you add all of these together right now, we would have 12 days if we added that, and without the other, we'd have 11. But that's 2 additional weeks of, 5-day work weeks that we've already got plus 1 now. And then with vacation and everything, I just don't know if that's, I mean, it's just one more day that the county's not getting any business done, and it's another expense for the county. So on the Juneteenth, I agree with, but the Employee Appreciation Day, I have concern with that, just because of the expense to the county. And we've already got 11 paid holidays, which is pretty generous.
It is totally up to the board.
Okay.
Just in your motion, specify if you're making any changes.
Okay. Do you have any?
No, I kind of agree with you on that.
Any comment?
It's their holidays. I don't know. Is 12 the normal amount, or is that over? Or you're doubling up, is what you're saying?
Well, we had 10 before. This is last year's, and then this year they're adding 2 more. They want to add 2 more. They want to add Juneteenth, which is in June, and then the Employee Appreciation Day, I think, was in March.
Yes.
And
I
so
know
that would be adding
sometimes
2 more.
in Thule we trade,
Yeah,
like
and
we
we do
give
that
up
here too.
Columbus Day for whatever,
Right, this
yeah.
President's Day, they traded for the Friday after Thanksgiving. So there are some trades that go on. But as actual paid days, currently they get 10 days.
But I
paid
tend to
holidays.
say what you're saying, there's only so much time to do the county business. And
Correct.
if we're adding 2 more days off, it might not be germane.
Okay. All right, well, I would probably make a motion to eliminate the Employee Appreciation Day and then add the Juneteenth.
Okay.
Okay? All right, is everybody in agree with that? Can I get a second on that?
Yeah, I'll second that. Does this have to come back through with the deal, or can you just scratch the one?
I'll retype it. You're not required to sign it. So I can just
Okay.
retype it.
Okay, all right. All right, so we're all in favor of doing that? Okay, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
I
You
didn't
saying
quite
aye?
hear you, that's okay.
Sorry, I know you're,
So my ears are plugged up.
okay. So I make a motion to approve the consent agenda items. Do I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And Commissioners, I don't believe you took a vote on item 3. It was not included in your consent motion.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
She said consent agenda items, which is.
They weren't, it wasn't read into the record.
Oh, okay.
She read the others.
So do we need to take a
You
vote?
need to
on-
make a motion on that.
Make a
yes.
motion? Okay. I make a motion to rest approval of resolution number 12-8-22/111-26 regarding compliance with the New Mexico Open Meetings Act. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
No.
Okay, so we have 2 ayes and 1 nay. All right, so now we're going to move on to scheduled citizens' communications. Trudy Clark.
First of all, I want to thank you for letting me make a presentation. My name is Trudy Clark. I've lived in Otero County for the last 38 years. I went to school from El Paso, which means I'm one of your neighbors. I went to school at Texas Western and got my bachelor's degree and my master's work in government, and I have a master's in human resources. And as I got older, I found less work, so what did I do? I started doing sub work. So that brings me to this question or this issue. You had a presentation on the APS district, and I wanted to present the rest of the story. Slide number 2. And I'm sorry it's so small. The key thing here is, once again, the evidence indicates that students from low-income families are disadvantaged right through education systems to their post-secondary schooling. This is not an American issue. This is from Canada. So if the Canadians have the problem, and we've always identified that poverty is an issue for education in New Mexico, we need to address that issue first. Can we have the next slide, please? I think we're missing a slide. APS operates in this environment. Is that the second slide on my? Second. Okay, there's what. APS operates in this environment. 70% of our students are socially, economically disadvantaged. 33% are military connected. 200 plus students are grandparents who are educating their children, their grandchildren. 100 plus are homeless, okay? 90% have lost a family member, 37% are Caucasian, 63% are Hispanic, African Americans, Native Americans. Just 4 days ago, Fox News identified that New Mexico has the lowest income of any state in the United States. Now, to get to that route, you have to be making over $20 an hour for a year to become the lowest one, with $40,000. This is not high. How does APS work in this state? Well, APS graduation rates have exceeded state totals since 2014. We had one blurb, that was in 2012 when we tied, but we have been at the top of the graduation rates. APS is third in overall academic performance among New Mexico's largest high schools. I have been a sub-teacher now for 5 years at the high school, and I have seen the evolution that's taken place, and I witness it in the classroom every day. So I'm full-time substitute for the high school. What do we teach about social skills and citizenship? APS has adopted the Boys Town School Social Skills Tools Program. Number one. Next one, next slide, please. We're having technical issues. Are we up to date now? No, we're in the next slide. How about social skills and citizenship? Asking permission and looking at the teacher when you talk to them, or your parents even. Ask when they talk to them, look in their eyes. Show respect and interest. Accepting no as an answer and accept criticism. Learning how to apologize. Respect students and refrain from foul language in the classroom. Be positive, stay calm and quiet. I had to throw a student out of class for using the F word out loud repeatedly, and I got tired of it. So I asked them to remove them, and they did. They asked her to come back and apologize to me, and she refused after calling me a couple of names. So this is what we're trying to teach children. This next slide, okay, this next slide, this is, when we talk about what we're teaching, sometimes we use movies that's in the classroom, just in the classroom. Hidden, the NASA heroes who did the math computations for space flight and reentry. What is the importance of this? Well, it teaches girls that they can do math because they were all women. They can teach people of color that they can be just as important as anybody else in our society. The history, another one is the history of Big Jim green chili in New Mexico. The #1 crop in New Mexico was developed by a Japanese agronomist over at New Mexico State University. Mm-hmm. He also was sent to the camps in Colorado during the Second World War. Glory Road, Texas Western changed basketball, the face of basketball forever. It's called, that's the movie, The Glory Road. And it changed basketball not only in colleges, but professional basketball. Coach Haskins put up 5 black students, 5 black players, and beat Kentucky for the championship. We do shows on the Navajo Code Talkers. How many American lives were saved from the Navajo, from our Indian populations in our state? This is, to me, this is critical to who we are. This is America. These people maybe came from disadvantaged backgrounds, but they changed our society, rightfully so. Should we not talk about them? Should that not be part of what we teach in school? Next time. Now, one more. I'll just read this because we're getting this screwed up here. This is right. To participate in Title I funding, Each teacher must have 5 years' experience. Five years' experience in teaching. Free lunch programs at no cost to the student, extra tutorials in school, extra help for at-risk students. The whole purpose of Title I was no child left behind, if you remember that.
Yep.
That's what Title I is no child left behind. Understand that. Our school not only does stuff for our people, can you have the next slide, please? One more. This is something that's incredible. We serve 160 hot breakfasts at school and out at the high school for any student who needs a breakfast in the morning. We serve 1,200 no-cost lunches. Some kids, that's the only meal they get all day.
Right.
During holidays, we provide 4,000 to 5,000 lunches to families with disadvantaged children. Each package contains a breakfast and a dinner. 4,000. And they're the poorest people in our community. How have we done as far as educating our kids? What does APS do? Check the next slide, please. We have tutoring, okay. Math is tutored in room 410, Monday and Friday, and Tuesdays and Thursdays. This is from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Ms. Levancho teaches English, and Mr. Aguilar teaches English Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Then, look at this. Free tutoring, live tutoring, from 2 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night is available to every kid in the school. Are we providing them with an opportunity to do something? Next slide, please. Title I has one purpose, to improve the lives of our children. And really, that's the only thing that school is doing, and that's what I'm trying to do. That's my contribution as an old man, very old man. That's my contribution. Next slide. Not only that, we have other programs. Upward Bound. NMSU provides a program. Need help with grades and GPAs? They have classes every Wednesday. They have classes that they have as tutor there. Completing college admission apps. That's done by not only the librarian currently, she helps them, but Upward Bound helps them do. Prepare for college entrance exams. They prepare them for that. They have the books and they give them free advice. Apply for scholarships. We provide, sit down with them, go over their essays, help them figure out what schools they want to. Explore different campuses and careers. They take them to different campuses to show what college life is like. They get paid to participate, and it has nothing to do with the parents. Next slide, please. APS always has a commitment to the laws of the state of New Mexico. I was involved in the Human Rights Act, the creation of the Human Rights Act, which gave gay, lesbian, and gender identity issues to be truthful. Okay, gender identity means a person's self-perception of who that person is, and by you deciding who you are, as a male or female based on that person's appearance, behavior, physical characteristics that are in accordance with and or opposed to a person's physical anatomy. That's the law in the state of New Mexico. We honor that. That also includes libraries. You can't go into a library and say you don't want this book and you don't want that book because it doesn't fit with what I think is right. That's the law.
Not God's law.
That has nothing to do with what goes on in schools, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
And he has the floor.
What's really holding us back is poverty.
Right.
When we're the lowest paid median income in the United States, what do we do? What are we going to do to make that better? What are we going to do? The school district's doing everything they can. They're dragging the kids to water. But if they can't drink or they won't drink, or they're unable to drink because they're hungry, because they don't have a house to live in, because they're poor. I see kids that wear the same clothes every day to school. Why? You think they don't want, you don't think they want to have new stuff? The same jacket every day for a whole year. The real issue here, one of the major issues is, that I see, if we can't change Otero County, we're going to be where we're at all the time. We can try as hard as we want. But ladies and gentlemen of this group, if you want to read the New York Times and see what they say about Otero County, get a picture. If you want to look at Google News, look at how what news have we put out in the last year? We started this 10 years ago with burning books. You remember that? That made it all the way. That made it all the way to England. I saw that in England, and I was instrumental in doing the counter-revolution to that. But it was on English TV. We are in the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. Why? Because we had the effrontery to start burning books. That's Otero County. What have you done? What are you doing to improve that picture? That's your responsibility, not the schools. You need to bring this community into the 20th century. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any unscheduled citizens' communication? Get a sign-up sheet. Thank you. Okay. Mark Prout, am I saying that? Prot?
Prod.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Mark Prott. I am the chairman of the Otero County Planning Commission. And I just would like to give you an update and report about what goes on in our monthly meetings. I would like to commend our two support staff, R.B. Nichols and Sylvia, as being expert help. And I'm fortunate that we have a very well-educated board. We have two surveyors. We have a government employee out at Holloman. We have a real estate agent, and we also have an engineer. So largely my task is just to make sure that we go along with some of the things that have been skipped over in the years, mainly how we do our plats, mainly how we look at our two biggest problems are what does the county inherit after a period of time. They inherit bad water management from flood control, and also they inherit bad roads. So those are the two things that we put special emphasis on to make sure that we don't have those problems, that sometime in the future that nobody comes in here and starts yelling about their access or about their flooding on their property, all because of bad decisions that were made many years ago where this commission used to just rubber stamp things. Now we go into detail about every plan, every plat that's given before us. Now I just would like to bring up that our greatest growth area right now is Chaparral. We, this year, we have already, I believe, 3 plats, 3 developments going on down there, and that is because of the population in Texas obviously finds it cheaper to live here in Otero, and that's why Chaparral is growing the way it is. I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes a city, our next city in the future. Speaking again, I'm always the advocate. We don't have a budget. Our budget is 0. But we do think that sometimes you folks down here are a little bit overworked, and we really need to be thinking about going into the future with 3 to 5 commissioners. We also really need a planning and zoning department and gather up our project manager, a grant writer, an engineer, some of those positions that can help us gel up facing the challenges that we have coming down in the future. I'm not trying to give a critical indictment. I'm just saying that, hey, urbanization is coming here. and also keeping that Air Force base out there. That is the golden goose of this county. And they look at all our development, they look at how we handle
Thank you,
things.
that's your buzzer
The
going
3
off,
minutes
sorry.
are up.
Oh. Who's that, me?
Yeah, that's
You
you.
only get 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to come in and touch base with you all.
Thank you.
Since I don't see you upstairs very much, and just let you know that we're doing the job to try and keep the heat off of you folks.
Thank
So,
you.
Yes. You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Mark.
Okay, Tanya Durano, I think, if I'm reading the writing. Is she here?
I think some people thought that was the attendance list.
Oh, okay.
Maybe they
That
didn't
that
want to
happens
speak.
sometimes, okay. And Ms. Dibble?
I will pass, thank you.
You passing, okay. Marcia Sturman?
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
We, the Committee for Clean Government, take this opportunity to thank our county attorney, R.B. Nichols, for stepping up his efforts in the last several months to help the Otero County ranchers. We spoke to the ranchers, and on their behalf, we are proposing that the county attorney and the county commissioners take additional actions. In the ranchers' opinion, quit risk management and make some noise because Superintendent Mosley is single-handedly wrecking the industry. Mosley has repeatedly ignored the county attorney's letters, and it's time to go over Mosley's head to the Forest Service Regional Office and write a letter of no confidence in both the Forest Service Supervisor and the District Ranger. This should get the attention of the Forest Service's lower management. Make the Forest Service understand Otero County will not allow them to ruin the economic stability of the county or its agricultural foundation. If citing these grievances to the regional office is fruitless, then escalate the complaints to Randy Moore, Chief of the U.S. Forest Service. And I agree with Agenda Item 25 that's on your agenda. Finally, we are making a formal request that our elected official, County Clerk Robin Holmes, make consistent appearances in person at the regular monthly county meetings to give a full update on her department. And the office did not notify me of this meeting as per their website assurance. Thank you.
Thank you. Chuck Andreas?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I want to thank Mr. Clark for such a positive commentary on our APS and the effects it has on the school system and our community. That's really nice. However, opinions oftentimes reflect feelings, and feelings do not give an objective view. Achievement scores, however, do give an objective view. School achievement scores are mostly standardized so we can compare student progress within our school district, within the state, and across the nation. And we have a problem. New Mexico PED released the proficiency scores of our public schools in September of this year. The APS average for all tests and all grades is about 37%. For the high school, the test was done on 11th graders who are fixing to graduate in 1 year. And their rating is less than 33% proficient. Let me put that in perspective. Proficiency is to have knowledge of a subject that you are able to complete the test satisfactorily. That means students would receive an A, B, or C. That's less than 1/3 of the 11th graders completed the test satisfactorily. That also means that more than 2/3 would receive a D or an F. Despite these low numbers, the graduation rates for the year 2021 is 82%. I want everyone here to think about this. Here are some questions to ponder. 1, are you as a community happy with 2 out of every 3 students failing to achieve satisfactory results? 2, why are parents accepting such low performance numbers? 3, with numbers this low, how can students be allowed to graduate? And number 4, what is the purpose of our schools? Number 5, so what are they doing with the $100 million a year of our spending of our taxpayer dollars here in Alamogordo? Number 6, do you know where that money goes? We have an idea because we based everything on IPRAs. I'm gonna give you some small examples. How about $13,000 for wash machines? When did our schools become laundromats? How about $10,000 for 2 massage chairs? Are they in the massage rooms? We don't know that. How about the $7,800 for new furniture for the superintendent's office? How about the $978 for a 1-amp fuse like this? This is a 30 amp, and I bought it at Home Depot for less than $20. That's not counting the labor of $1,178 to remove it and install it. I'm not happy with the lack of student achievement, and the problem is not the kids, it's the administration. I'm not happy with spending almost $10 million a month for failing grades. Okay, I want to keep this on a positive note. If you don't like what's happening, take action. Everybody in the public can make it better. Remember, they work for us, we the people. You have the power, use it. Hold these public school officials accountable. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.
Sheree? Shara. So that's why you spelled it, so I pronounced it. Shara. I don't know how to get that out of S-H-A-R-I.
I know, ask my mother, bless her soul. I'm Shara Adkison, and I live in Alamogordo. I wanted to speak to last meeting. I've had this conversation with you guys before. I was appalled. I was at home watching, and I was still appalled and just disgusted about the whole thing. The way it was handled, that Mr. Griffin got to come back and finish his statement. I think we deserve better governance than that. I like that you jumped in and did clear the rooms, stopped all the garbage, but we deserve better governance than that. And Mr. Andreas, when they bought the washing machines, that's for those children who come to school every day in the same clothes so they can wash clothes and have clean clothes. I think that's a small price to pay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coy, Griffin?
Good morning, Commissioners. I'd like to just start out by first apologizing for the chaos of the last meeting, the chaos that ensued. As the video shows, and all you have to do is watch it, I was just trying to express my First Amendment right. I was just trying to address the board and share with how I feel things have transpired and gone on. And Stephanie DuBose is the one that started screaming at me, "Criminal, you're a criminal," and she did so from the bench, suppressing my right to be able to speak. And then all the chaos started happening behind me. All I wanted was just the respect to be able to sit down here and share with y'all that I do believe that this is a disgrace. Stephanie told the news outlets that I called you a disgrace, Stephanie. I didn't call you a disgrace. I said this is a disgrace, and the disgrace is that you're appointed into this seat and you're not elected. The disgrace is that you have put stuff on the agenda and you haven't done it by the people and by being elected by the people. You've done it by being appointed by the governor. You're a mouthpiece for the governor, not for the people of of Otero County District 2. So it wasn't personal. I know that you translate it as being personal, but please don't take it that way. It's about what has happened, what has transpired. And then after the meeting, the chaos that ensued, I appreciate you allowing me to speak, but then whenever Stephanie had KOAT TV inside of this building in her office, telling KOAT that I was on my horse outside of the building and that I was keeping her from getting into her car and that I was hiding behind a fire truck. She said I was hiding behind the fire truck and I came out and I kept her from getting in her car. That's a lie and that's slander and it's defamation. And KOAT TV out of Albuquerque are as foolish for saying it as Otero County is for allowing it to be said inside of this building. It's defamation, it's slander, and it's lies, and it infringes on my civil liberties. And it puts my safety at risk when I walk down the street and people have a perception of me like I was hiding behind a fire truck trying to attack Stephanie. All that has to be looked at is the security cameras. All that has to be listened to is the video of this meeting to see what really happened. But I'm not going to take it anymore. I want you to know it's defamation. It's defamation just like the press release that you and Gerald and Michael Eshelman sent out while I was sitting in jail in Washington, D.C. I have a legal defense fund. It's on Gibson Go. It's attorney fees for Coy Griffin. And believe me, you haven't seen the last of me.
Marguerite Hernandez?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Marguerite Hernandez, and I'm a resident of Otero County. I came to speak about the number of commissioners, but I have to remark that I was among the many who were outside the commission building last month and witnessed Mr. Griffin on his horse and know what happened. I will say no further than that. But as to the commissioners, after observing a number of months the workings of the commission, I am firmly convinced that this county needs 5 commissioners. Now, some have said that there isn't the money to afford it. And I say, if you take the pot of money and you divide it among 5 instead of 3, and each commissioner takes a little less, we will have better governance and good responsibility for the things that need to be done that I know you observe need to be done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna Swanson?
Hello, my name is Donna Swanson. I want to start by thanking Vicki Marquardt for coming and observing what happens when there is polling, a recount of the polls. I appreciate that, and I wish that others would work on seeing what's going on, and then they would know the truth. Same thing with education. Poverty, 70%. If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you will realize that there is no way to educate students with poverty of 70% without addressing it. And I am brought now to the point where I think we should have 5 commissioners instead of 3, because we have an issue with our water, for one thing. Our Otero Mesa water is some of the best water that we have in the entire state, fresh water. I have been to so many meetings here, I have never heard this addressed. We are addressing other things instead of what we need to address. And I think you need more heads to help you think through these issues. You need some help. I think you can find the money to get the 5 commissioners instead of 3. I think that I have lived lots of places in this nation because I moved with my husband in the Air Force. I have never seen a county with county unmaintained roads. Not anywhere. This should not be. There should be no such thing as county unmaintained roads. I think we are doing not a disservice to our county. I also noticed number 8 on the consent agenda. I invite everybody to look at that. And I ask, how is our county doing financially? Do we really have the money to go after political issues and make a bunch of lawsuits on political issues and do county lawsuits for private property? I don't know that we have that much money. I think we should instead be focused on other things. We have been paying 1/8 mil since Commissioner Raridan was on the seat for a county courthouse, and we still don't have it, but we've been paying for it. Where is that money all gone? Has it been to lawsuits? I think we need 5 commissioners, not 3. Please consider it. One more thing, Gabe Vasquez has already begun to work for you, and he isn't even sworn in. He has already met with the Otero Soil and Water Conservation District, and I applaud that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to move on to new business.
Ma'am, I was on the list and I haven't been called. I was on the list and I haven't been called. My name is Tanya Burns.
Oh, I called you at the beginning. You must not have been in here. I marked your name up.
I
didn't
have been
think
in here continuously and I have that on record.
I think she said your name wrong.
Yeah, I couldn't read the last name. I said Tanya, and I couldn't read the last name.
Burns, B-U-R-N-S.
Okay, well, you can speak. I'm sorry, I didn't think you were in here. I did
Oh,
call you.
thank you.
I just
Thank
pronounced
you.
it wrong, I guess.
Thank you for having me at the commission meeting. I'm standing due to health issues, not sitting.
Okay.
I appreciate being here today. I've lived in the county for most of the last 20 years, most of those years in Tularosa, the last 5 years in Alamogordo. I've worked all over the county. I've spent almost 10 years working physiotherapy in their early childhood intervention program, which most of you will know goes out to homes all over the county and up to Mescalero, Bent, Mayhill, all over. So I feel I'm pretty familiar with the geography and the people of the county, although I'm not originally from here. And I would like to state for the record and state for anyone who is watching this via the internet that I personally feel fear and intimidation from your behavior, Coy Griffin. I feel fear and intimidation and humiliation, and I feel as though there are so many people in our county who have not had the opportunity, as I have in my life, to stand before a crowd and be persecuted, to stand before a crowd as a survivor, because I have had complex trauma training. I have had complex trauma response training. I have worked in the field of public health. As a matter of fact, I spent 10 years working for the Department of Health in Wyoming, and I was one of the people up there instrumental in bringing legislation to fruition in Wyoming for public health for acquired brain injury survivors. I have spent my entire public career in health education. And I can tell you all that this county is traumatized. The citizens on the street, the people who come up in their trucks, Coy Griffin, and tell me, be careful, Coy just drove down the street. They are intimidating me to boot. Your antics here and on January 6th have brought disgrace upon our county, our people, and fear and intimidation to all of us. Bipartisan fear, fear among the people in the poverty at the laundromat. We are fearful of the mess that you have left and the legacy that we have to mop up. And I state for the record, I am fearful. I am fearful for myself personally. I am fearful for my family. I am fearful for the voters who feel suppressed, the people who had yard signs pulled out and removed, the people whom you have affected absolutely directly by your direct actions and indirectly.
3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to new business. Item number 18, Request approval of Wilson and Company task order for the Steve Drive and Angelina Boulevard sign warrant analysis in the amount of $15,074.23.
I put this on the agenda about a month and a half ago. There was two accidents, one day after each other. The first day, 3 people were killed. The next day, 2 people were taken to the hospital. So I asked Sheriff Black for a copy of the police reports and stuff. And there's been 4 crashes in the last year at this avenue, which is Steve Drive and Angelina. This right here is the copy of the reports for the last 2 years, strictly at that intersection. When you get on Angelina at Highway 54, there's not a stop sign all the way till you hit the state line road. It's a very high-speed travel area. This study is just to tell us what we could do, if the stop sign would be adequate, trying to slow down the traffic a little bit. The amounts, there will be more accidents there if we don't try to do something. I talked to Julianne about the $15,000 for this study. Let me back up a little bit on this study. This is a state requirement that we have to have this study to do any kind of, the cheapest way of this would be go put a stop sign out. But they won't let us do it without this study. So, Julianne, I'll let you just talk about where we can get the money if it's there.
Sure. So for studies like this or any engineering fees, usually where we take that money from is our 0.25% hold harmless gross receipts tax revenue. And that money is to be used for any general operating purposes. So for number 18 and even number 19, that is the next item on the agenda, those amounts would be easy for that gross receipts tax fund to absorb. We could fund that. However, if there is a project that comes from that study, then depending on the cost of the project, we would most likely need some sort of grant funding to be able to complete those projects. The 0.25% hold harmless can fund some things, but we have to make sure that we have the funding for the debt service first. That has to come out first. So yeah, just depending on the cost of an actual project, we may or may not be able to fund the whole thing through that, so we would have to get grants.
And again, this is strictly just for the study of it. I've talked to Representative Madrid. He has told me if on some of this thing, like next year, if our study says we have to have some certain work done, to try to get with him, and we'll work on the ICIP money and capital outlay money. So if whatever they come up with, if we decide to pass this, I'm already taking the next step, trying to find the money to where it doesn't have to come out of our general fund, or we can find a grant for it. So that's the story on that.
Do you have any comments, Commissioner? Do you have any comments on that?
No.
No, okay.
No, if it's a study that needs to be done, it's an accident waiting to happen.
Correct.
Sheriff Black, would you like to comment anything on that?
I'll just add just a couple more things. I know that, like you said, the intersection, Angelina from 54 to State Line, there's no traffic control on that road. I think 72 of those entries that I gave you was from our traffic enforcement in that general area. They write a lot of tickets for speeding in that area. The other thing I'd bring to your attention is I was concerned about the intersection. Is there something there that is blocking the view of these people when they pull up to a stop sign, something like that? Went down, had a look, no obstructions whatsoever. The other thing is on the east side of Angelina, some of these new streets and stuff going in. Without the study, we don't know if that traffic has increased on this street. So I think the study will tell us that. But to me, Angelina, you probably need not only this intersection, there may be a few others. You know, we were concerned about Angelina and Luna, one of the busiest intersections. We've had 0 accidents there. But again, you're coming off of a corner right by the solar field. where the speeds are not that great. Angelina is a long straight road after Luna. So, I mean, they have a tendency, speeds to be a little more from Luna to state line, so.
Right. And one of the things that I've observed when I've been down there looking is Chaparral is really expanding to the north. So we have new subdivisions going into the north where there are quite a few people already occupying. So you have more people, more residents, and that is the road to get to a lot of those subdivisions. So it's just way more traffic now than what it was 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, I think those 4 accidents that I gave you copies of, we didn't have any reported 2 years ago. Those are from June to present day.
Oh, okay.
So it's just been within the last, 6-7 months that we've starting to see those accidents in that area, so.
And all these reports right here are strictly on incidents that happened at Angelina and Steve intersection, according to.
Correct.
To these, so.
Any traffic stops, enforcement and stuff like that, they're gonna be within that general area. We may be half a block north, half a block south, something like that, but it's gonna be in that general area.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Have anything else? Any comments? Okay. All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve Wilson and Company task order for the Steve Drive and Angelina Boulevard signal warrant analysis in the amount of $15,074.23. Get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion passes. Okay, number 19, request approval of Wilson and Company task order number 113022022, Cali de Sueños Road Drainage Analysis and Planning Level Improvement Analysis in the amount of $19,818.91.
I also kind of put this on the, RB and Tom and myself have been down dealing with the residents on this subdivision. You heard Mark with planning and zoning talk a few minutes ago about the past on the county just kind of rubber stamping subdivisions. This right here is a prime example of that rubber stamping. You have positive water flows that run in a southwestern direction. This subdivision has a subdivision straight to the south side of it. So you have all these lateral arroyos running across through the subdivisions and running right through the lots. Now granted, yes, these people's choices to buy these lots in this subdivision, but the water that's running down is, all those arroyos are just going, some of them are going under the street, and then some of them are running along the edge of the street, which are overflowing and going into the deal. Now there's one instance down there that one of the homeowners they've changed the direction of the water, which dumps it onto the neighbor, which we informed him that was not a good thing to do. So that's going to be between him and his neighbor. But again, this is just to go down to try to do an engineering study to figure out how we can get this water from running across the lots and get it to stay going down the highway to the railroad tracks and hit the ditch down there. So RB has done a lot of research on this subdivision. We've asked him on his opinion, is this something that the county should do, or is this something that is just a thing of nature of life? And he, as it told us, that this is what the county should make. We should stand up for this because it is our issue. So again, RB, you have anything you'd like to say to this, or?
With that, there's a caveat that there's a lot of subdivisions in this situation, and before we can do any corrective measures, we need a study to protect the county for liability, because any changes that we make to that water flow, we're responsible for and liable for. If it takes out someone else's house because we made a change, then we'd be on the hook for that. So we need to do this study if we're going to do something to fix those drainage issues, we need to do the study. But like I said, there's a lot of subdivisions that are in a similar situation. So as you make a decision on whether we're going to do this, it needs to be with the understanding that you're probably going to have a lot of other subdivisions come asking for the same, and limited funding. We can't fix the fix for this. We may not even be able to afford once the study comes back, but we certainly, as a county, don't have the funding to correct all of the flooding and drainage issues throughout the county, which there are numerous, because these subdivisions, even the planning of Alamogordo as a city, it's not been done with foresight or consideration of the water coming down off the mountains. So I don't know what the answer is to it, but you need to be cognizant of that as you vote on this. Is that it's setting a precedent to do it for others.
Excuse me. I know that I shouldn't probably butt in here. Isn't there a law?
Can you come up
on
to the mic?
Isn't there a law on the books that says if you have a piece of property that you cannot change the direction of the water if it is flowing on your property? We had that happen right on Riata Road down Gardner Lane, where the county changed the direction of the water, and it flooded my place. But there is a rule that says you cannot change the direction of the water. If it's flowing on your property, you can't change it to someone else.
The ruling on that is, and you're correct, you cannot transfer it to where it does dump. Now you can, if the natural route of that water runs through the neighbor's property, that's a different deal. But like I stated, the one person that lives there, when he said that, the other neighbor was standing right there. So that's going to be between those two. That's going to be in a civil deal if that turns out to be something not the county's responsibility.
But that rule is on the book.
Yes, ma'am, but the county did not do that. On that situation with the two residents, the county is trying to address an issue that that probably this subdivision should have been addressed before it was ever approved by the county. In which I'm thankful now that they're reviewing these subdivisions so much more thorough than what they were before. So I'm not 100% sure what the right answer is to this. Like RB has stated, this could be opening a box of worms out. Yes, ma'am.
Just for clarification, so what I think you're saying.
Can you come up to the microphone, please?
Just for clarification, I think what you're saying, but I'm trying to see if I'm actually understanding correctly. What you're saying is the subdivision may have changed the flow of the water, not the county or the individual residential
No, ma'am.
people?
No, ma'am. The subdivision put the flow of water in exactly how they designed, and the county approved it. On one instance, one of the landowners or property owners of that subdivision diverted his water onto his neighbors, which those two are working that out. That's the only diversion that the water's been done. The county has not diverted any water, and they haven't changed the flow of it. That's what was approved. That's why we're wanting to do a study to figure out how the county could address this water flow to where it doesn't go on to any of the other people or property and get the water out of the subdivision. Does that make sense? Is that answering your question?
I think so. But it sounds as though the issue is there's too much water and where it goes is a problem.
Correct.
Yes.
The subdivision was designed in a certain way, and it came with their public or county easements, drainage easements that the county's responsible for maintaining. But the way that these were designed and implemented into the subdivision was not done in an intelligent manner. It takes water underneath the road and takes it across, and it collects it and dumps it on several of these properties. And so every time the monsoons come, these properties are getting flooded. So the county does have some responsibility to maintain these easements. It accepted them as the way they were. That being said, people that purchase the property also have a responsibility to do due diligence and research as to what the property they're buying, all the collateral issues that come with it, such as drainage and flooding. And so there's some responsibility there.
This particular subdivision has a low water ditch crossing in it, which the county maintains that ditch for drainage and stuff like that. So the problem of this subdivision is actually the lower half of the subdivision, because the upper half of it is the water catches in this low water crossing, runs through this subdivision, and then runs through designated ditch to the subdivision to the south of it. This subdivision was put in after the subdivision to the south, which all the water wants to run to that subdivision. So they were trying to divert, but it's diverting to the lower lots on it, if that makes any sense of what I'm trying to say. But
So it's problematic from the county's point of view and also from the residential point of view. Particular residences are more affected than others.
yes, and the bad thing with this country here is we don't get very much rain, and all of a sudden in 1 month we get a lot, and then this is when these issues come up. Again, it should be somewhat of the responsibility of the person buying the land, the property, to do a little study on this before. Now they buy the land and all of a sudden the rains come and then it's the county's problem. Mr. Porter, you have anything you'd like to? Nope, okay.
I was just going to ask if the county has partnered with the city and the residential people in any way to look for state assistance in the assessment piece, which can be quite, from an engineering and water point of view, it can be quite a complex situation and expensive to do a good assessment, to not have, I think you mentioned that maybe you had sort of inherited a possibly inherently flawed drainage design when it was originally approved, and I'm just inquiring as to whether the county, the city, and the residential group has been able to get together with state resources to facilitate a bigger, broader kind of step back look at how you might get some financial help to get the assessment done, so we don't stay in the minutia of this particular one, because I'm hearing very much what this gentleman's saying is there's a little bit of an inheritance there from another era that we need to
Right.
take into account.
To my knowledge, the county hasn't. The city of Alamogordo has. If you'll notice the ditch that they're doing, that they went from actually 10th Street south, brought it around, it comes underneath the bypass and then goes out. That is one of the drainage ditches. They are also working on doing a ditch that will start heading north from that. It's the Corps of Engineers doing that after the big flood on the Abbott Street and stuff is when all this came into effect. Alamogordo, I shouldn't say Alamogordo, let's say Otero County has grown so much. Everybody has come in, subdivisions have come in. They just kind of all started pushing water. Now it's not getting to travel where it naturally was 100 years ago. This is one of the big problems. Bowles Acres, for example, has been in existence for 60 years probably, or maybe longer than that. But way before any of these other subdivisions were, so they had a natural water flow. Well, now all those water flows are getting changed with these new subdivisions. So it's a big problem countywide. So we're going to have to try to figure out some way to address it.
Do you personally know if there's any money coming from the state to assist with that?
We haven't reached out that far. We're just now getting into all these subdivisions hitting with this little problem. So at some time, we'll probably have to try to reach out to the state and see if there's any kind of FEMA funding or something like that on the flooding deal. But it's coming because the county can't absorb everything. even if there was a fix to that, like the attorney said, that we don't have it in our budget to come in and do that, because I'm sure it'll probably be a $200,000-$400,000 adjustment on that, but we'll try to reach out to the FEMA, to a flood organization, try to find a grant on it somehow for that. Yes, sir.
I would just like to
Go to the mic.
He's coming.
emphasize Mark Trott, the chairman of the County Planning Commission.
Would you speak
is
into the
that we
microphone,
now look
Mark,
at-
please? Thank you.
Okay. We now look at topographic maps as well as flood maps in order to make sure that within that division that we are working on, to make sure that there is not additional problems. Now, beyond what we have to look at for our subdivisions, we have no authority to take care of that. That's beyond our ability to control that. But as far as what happens in these developments now is so thorough that we take sometimes weeks to go over this stuff on our own at home, besides going out and looking for ourselves what kind of development is going in, because there are quite a few. Small ones as well as big ones. The big ones down mainly in Chaparral, we have a lot of small developments going on around throughout the county that primarily we're finding access to be one of the major problems, as well as water runoff and where that goes. Again, those are the two things we are most concerned with, but we try to prevent some of the problems that wind up here. We are now addressing upstairs when we have our meetings. So there is a lot more due diligence than there ever was before. And I just want to thank the commissioners for handling their part of it, and I know we're taking care of our part. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
But that's all I have on it.
My biggest concern with it, I mean, I want to help all the people that we can, but if we do this, how do we tell the next subdivision that I mean, there's only going to be so much money, and we're going to set a precedence, and if we help one, I don't know how you tell the next one no.
That's the issue.
I mean, that's my, I
That's a
don't
hard
know.
deal.
It's you're stuck between wanting to help and the other side of it.
Exactly.
Because I know we have flooding issues at times all over the place when we have heavy rains, but I don't know what the answer is, but I just don't know that the county can fund each subdivision that comes with this. There's got to be some responsibility on the people that put the subdivisions in to do their due diligence before they start dividing up these lots for property. Because I know the water's run off that mountain the same way since I've lived here.
Right.
And you build homes in that path and you're going to get flooded.
Gonna get flooded.
You know, and then people above you build, it reroutes the water, you're gonna get flooded. I mean, I know. I mean, I lived out on Hamilton Road for a good part of my life. I know how the water runs around here. Yes, ma'am? Can you come up to the microphone?
Yes, I think what I would ask and suggest is an inventory of the skills we have in-house, like a skills inventory of both our expertise and our available technology to assist in kind of like a skills inventory to see what we have to address the issue, because it sounds like it's going to come up over and over again. And we do live in the Southwest, which is literally world famous for water rates and water issues. So my suggestion would be to start with that in-house and then to pair up with seeing if we could collaborate also with the city and with the state, because it's going to take big money to take a step back overview and take the financial burden off, us at the county level, to try to get kind of purchase on the rapid growth, and especially when you're inheriting systems that are perhaps technically flawed or behind the times in how they could be or should be. If you piecemeal things, you can really keep shooting yourself in the foot, is what I'm thinking, versus if you take a skills inventory and then both your physical stuff, your your computer software, your other hardware that you have out in the field, as well as your personnel. And then you step back and use that to say, what else do we need that can simplify this and bring in some expertise and resources from a step back point of view and make it a whole lot quicker and cheaper. That would be my thought on that. And I say that coming from a geology background and working with the federal agency on the edge of town there who works with water and hosts people from overseas on big projects that they're bringing to scale with water issues. I mean, we have partners right here on the edge of town where there's just vast amounts of expertise that we can tap into and so much goodwill. Out there at Biggendorf is what I'm talking about. So we have a complex system of partners right here in our county. We are so well placed to address these issues, but we would have to sort of skills inventory ourselves and reach out to others so they can, give us extra expertise or tell us what we're missing or whatnot. It's going to be a lot cheaper in the long run is what I'm saying.
Well, I can say, I'm not saying I'm a big fan for this proposal right here because of what it's going to lead to, but the one thing that the county I'm be full against is having our road shop go out and do an alteration to that subdivision drainage, because then we're putting the county in total liability, and that's the last thing I want. And the only reason this came was this was the only option before anything was done to even see. Granted, I mean, it's going to open the doors up for a lot. So one recommendation, the only thing we can do is take care of the drainage ditches like we have in the past. We clean them, we don't alter them, and we stay with the way it has been. That's not going to change the water flow down there. It's still going to do the same thing. But again, that's another one of those subdivisions that should have been looked at a little closer before it was approved or accepted by the county. So that's where I'm at on that. I can add one more thing on that I was pushing for the agenda item before because it is a public safety and I don't want any more people killed on the accident. This is a total different deal. I'm not crazy about spending this $19,000 for the study. This was brought to where everybody could see exactly where it is on our table and what it's going to cost.
Okay, we ready to vote?
Yes.
Anything else? No? Okay. All right.
I would say this, let's not let it be a precedent.
Right.
I mean, maybe include that in your motion or something, that this is a one-time, and it would be case-by-case basis.
I'm
That
not
would
sure
be
we
my
could do
thought.
that. I think it's either, I think once we do it for one, we'd have to
Yeah,
address all.
and you'd have to do it, yeah. I remember when I first moved to Otero County, contractors would come in and put in a subdivision, but they wouldn't put in water lines or sewer lines or curbing. And they would come to the county and they would want that put in there. That's not the county. So what I suggested, and I suggested it in Deming, that and this is a different case, but I'm talking about builders now, that they put up a performance bond so that the county's not liable for all this stuff going on that they didn't take care of and they left town or whatever. So I just make that as an aside. But if you need to spend the $19,000 as a safety issue, and I would agree with that.
Okay, I don't think that I can, in good conscience, vote for it, so I'm just afraid we're going to be, because I know how much flooding goes on around here. So, okay.
That's a water issue.
It is a big issue. All right. I make a motion for approval of Wilson and Company Task Order Number 113-02022, Cali de Sueños Road Drainage Analysis and Planning Level Improvement Analysis in the amount of $19,818.91. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Nay?
Nay.
Nay. All right, motion fails. Okay, Number 20, discuss the commission chamber's current occupancy.
Well, I guess our resolution shot me down, so I'm not going to pursue it. I can take it up with the Open Meetings Act, but I guess end of story.
Okay. We don't need to vote on this because it was just a discussion, correct? Okay. All right, so we're pulling number 21 until after the executive session. We're pulled 22 because we didn't get the insurance quotes that we thought we were going to have, so we're going to move on to 23. Request approval to appoint an alternate to the New Mexico County Insurance Authority. You want to speak to that?
Commissioners, Matt Clark is our representative, but we do need an alternate. Commissioner Griffin was the alternate, and of course, he is no longer in that seat. This would be to attend meetings in Matt's absence. The next meeting is January 17th at conference, and that will be available. So but we do have to appoint the alternate by January.
Okay.
And I don't mind doing it.
Okay. All right, do we need to vote on that?
Yes, to
Okay.
appoint Commissioner Matherly.
All right. Do you have any problems with that? Okay, I make a motion to appoint Commissioner Matherly to be the alternate for the New Mexico County Insurance Authority. Do I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Congratulations. More meetings. Yay!
Yay. More work.
More work. Okay, number 24, request approval for funding for the archaeological surveying of Barrow Pit. Want to speak to that, Mr. Porter?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning again.
Tom Porter, Otero County Road Department. This past rainy season, down off of FO 18, FO 17, down by the Cornudas Mountain and Flat Top, 3 of our roads got washed out. And just because of the amount of distance from the nearest borrow pit that I have access to, which is almost down by Border Patrol, you're looking at about 75 miles one-way trip. It would just destroy my trucks trying to haul the amount of material. There's an old borrow pit down there in that area. They think it was the last time it was used was the early 60s, possibly in the 70s. It's on BLM. They won't let us get in there without having an ARC survey done on it.
Do we know how much that's going to cost?
It was between $2,000 and $3,000, I do believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot cheaper than replacing a truck.
Yes.
Well, if I could say one thing, that 2,000 to 3,000, if we had to do one washout, one road repair, which there is one coming up down there, you'll save that money in one road repair, just with the traffic, the mileage having to come in, the labor, the wear and tear on the vehicles. I mean, I hope when the archaeology study goes that it goes good.
Yeah, there's no guarantee that
Yeah.
they'll let us in there, but we've got to start someplace.
So, and this is by law, state statute, that we have to do this
Mhm.
before we can do the next step, so.
Could I ask what a borrow pit is?
It's basically an area that they've excavated for material, and they've used this material to build the original road, and so you're borrowing from one place to haul it to another.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. All right. I make a motion for approval for funding for the archaeological surveying of Barrow Pit. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Thank
All
you.
right. Passed. All right, number 25. Discuss and consider partnering with Chavez County, Lincoln County, and Eddy County to send a joint letter to the United States Forest Service.
Commissioners, as you know, we, last meeting, approved a letter to the regional forester, and in that there was a request to have a joint meeting between the 4 counties, Chavez, Lincoln, and Eddy, and Otero, with the regional forester. And so far, we haven't got a response to that. The dates that we proposed have come and passed. So this would be a letter going to the chief forester of the Forest Service detailing our concerns about the force plan and other issues with grazing rights that have occurred in the county. I will note, I believe the district ranger, Bob Foxworth, is in attendance, and I've received word that the Forest Service intends to start attending our meetings, which is a good step forward. But this letter is the next step in our escalation of this issue, and the other counties are on board with this, and we're working jointly to draft the letter and schedule further meetings to discuss these matters.
Okay.
I thought we had already, because we have been doing, or Commissioner Mark Ward and yourself have been going to these, I thought we were already joined with them.
We are
We
joined
have.
with them,
This
but
is
it's
just
just this
to send
letter
the
is going to
letter.
be jointly
It's just a
sent.
letter.
It's sending it higher up to, higher up.
Okay, gotcha.
Have anything else?
No,
All right,
I'm fine with that.
okay.
Commissioners, if I may.
Oh.
Vicki?
Coy Griffin, District 2 Commissioner. If I may, could you guys include in that letter that you're sending and request what caused the Three Rivers fire that have burned so much of our national forest down? Because as Travis Mosley and the District Ranger are both here, and you know the efforts that we went through over the course of the last year to try to find out where they were on their investigation, you know, what the cause of that fire was. And Travis Mosley and the District Ranger were extremely disrespectful in their communication with Otero County, and our county sheriff, David Black, tried reaching out to the Forest Service to find out how that fire was caused, because we know that it was man-caused, because there wasn't any natural stuff going on that day. So we know that it was man-caused. But Travis Mosley, it's almost like it seems to me like it's almost like Travis Mosley intentionally didn't respond to us and to our requests. Why? I don't know. He's here today. Maybe Travis could come up and give us an update on the fire, but that's something that isn't only a cause of concern for me, but it's a cause of concern for many in our county. And whenever I asked for an update on where that investigation was, it wasn't Coy Griffin. It was my constituents that I represent. So maybe you can ask Travis Mosley if he can come up and give an update on the fire, because I would love to hear. Thank you. And include it in your letter.
Sir, are you aware that you are not currently a commissioner? You just introduced yourself as a commissioner, which I believe is...
Travis, did you want to come up?
May I?
Sure.
Good morning, Travis Mosley, the Forest Supervisor here on the Lincoln. I appreciate the opportunity to address the commission. One thing, as far as the letter goes, you know, I have no particular concerns about sending that. That's fine. And I think the underlying concern that I want to address the commission with and work with Mr. Nichols on is the content of a couple of the letters. Really is this memorandum of understanding to get at us coming before you and addressing things. There's plenty of opportunity for us to engage with you, and I want to work with R.B. Nichols here there's some concerning language in that, and that's our own counsel looking at that. So there's some things that I think we can address the intent of that in many ways, and I want to work with RB on that to look at that and to express our concerns about some of the phraseology in there. There's some legal conundrums that exist relative to our existing policies, laws, regulations. So that's the one piece of that underlying letter that I think that you've been voicing. As far as the Three Rivers fires, I really have nothing else to offer. The Forest Service has provided response. It's just not something it's in law enforcement's hands right now. It's still under investigation. They don't even provide that information to me. Law enforcement enforcers, a completely separate branch. They don't report to me. I can't command them to give me the information. And so that's where that stands. In all honesty, if there's evidence that was gathered that needs to be addressed, I just don't know and understand what it is. I want to know that and finalize it too, just so we can put it to bed, because I think there's a lot of rumor around that is concerning. So, anyways, I can't offer any more information about Three Rivers Fire. It's in the hands of law enforcement. It's an open investigation.
And who is the law enforcement agency that's handling that? Is
Well,
it state police?
it's the Forest Service Law Enforcement Agency. They did the investigations, and it's with them now, and they're basically Forest Service Law Enforcement, but they report, the chain of command reports straight to the Washington office, and so I can't demand them to provide me information that as their supervisor or something like that. I mean, I've asked this question multiple times, believe me, because I'd like to know so we can put this to bed. But that's the answer I'm getting, the answer I'm giving you. It's in their hands and under investigation. It's an open case.
Mr. Mosley, I appreciate that you and Bob are attending the meetings. Please don't take this the wrong way. I have one question for you, is why have you had no response to any of our letters, any of our trying to be communicating with you until right now, and all of a sudden you show up? Do not take this the wrong way. I'm trying to figure out myself, these people in the audience that have been fighting with the ranchers deal. There's two sides to every story to that, but my concern is why the Forest Service and yourself have not responded to us when we've sent you communication letters.
Well, I do believe there was a response from the regional forester that crossed. I don't know if you got the last letter. There was the subsequent letter that we just received, or that regional forester Martin received, was at the same time that her response came to you. So that, again, there's a number of things I can't make excuses for my bosses and what's going on in the regional office, because that's where that letter was addressed. And it got hung up. I asked plenty of questions. It finally got sent in terms of response. Volleying letters back and forth, I recognize, is not the best way that we need to be working together. And building understanding of what's going on in the county as well as on the forest within the county is a necessary and desirable thing, right? I mean, we want to build consensus where we can. And so I recognize that. We've been working through a lot of transition with District Rangers, who's the principal decision-making on that district up there that affects Otero County. And Bob Foxworth, it will be attending more often. I know Beth Humphrey in the past had been a regular and ongoing, and we just need to get into the rhythm of doing that along the lines of the intent of that underlying memorandum of agreement, that draft that you guys provided us.
But you're not answering my question. We had to go over your head to get any response. How come you could not give the county the courtesy to respond to the letters that were directly to you? It's a big deal building up inside of me. I'm not talking for the other commissioners, but we have continually tried to communicate with you, Mr. Mosley, and there's no response. That's my deal. When you go over your head, I understand that's the only way. It's got to go to the deal, go straight to the head of the source. But in this community, this county, small little county as we are, we're a tight family, and everybody needs to. Those mountains mean a lot to me. Right now, I'm dealing with the BLM on some issues right now that is following your footsteps. I see, following the forest footsteps. We don't want to go away. Otero County is what it is, and I want it to be the way it is 100 years from now. It's got to be communication. If you were kept sending us letters and asking us, and we never responded to you, you would understand how we feel on this side. Believe me, I'm not trying to make a bad deal where you don't ever come back and see us. I want you to participate and join the county, but it's very hard right now.
Yeah. I openly admit that's fallen down, and that's my responsibility. I own that, and I apologize for not being here more often, and ensuring that we're not here more often. And I make no excuses about that. What I do is commit to the commission that we will be here.
Okay.
And I want to work with the commission, and certainly on the underlying issues of the actions that are taking place on federal lands. So.
I've got a couple of questions.
Sure.
Who decides the size of those enclosures
Who
for
determines
the
the
mouse?
size?
Mm-hmm.
That's a district ranger decision at that delegated decision space, yeah. That would be Bob Foxworth.
I got a big issue with that.
Okay.
I mean, the size of those enclosures are ridiculous. I mean, half that mountain is getting fenced off. And to me, it's crystal clear that the Forest Service is trying to get rid of the grazing, all grazing on the Lincoln. I mean, that's not just my opinion, it's pretty much a fact. And I feel like we're fighting the Forest Service right now and BLM on the same issue. The federal government's overreach on our national forest is unsustainable. Pretty soon you're not going to allow humans on the forest at all. I mean, you've gotten rid of our loggers, so our forest is about to burn down because it's so overgrown. And now we've got the cattle getting fenced out of their water and removed off their grazing pastures, but yet nothing is done to reduce the elk herd up there or the deer. And they eat as much or more than the cattle because there's more of them up there. The deer and the elk can jump those fences and get in that enclosure with that mouse, if the mouse is even there. The eagles, the hawks, coyotes, anything else that eats that mouse can get in there. So the only thing that's being put out are the cattle. It makes no sense to me. It seems to me like our ranchers are being targeted by the Forest Service. And as an American citizen, I don't think that's right. I don't understand why our government should have the authority to completely fence out our grazers up there. They provide food for our area. Our food supply is in sad shape right now. They've got, I mean, there's all kind of products that come from cattle, not to mention the tax that we get from our ranchers up there. It affects the tax base in Otero County. So I've got a lot of heartburn with a lot of this stuff that's going on, and those enclosures are insane, the size of them. And the last one I went and looked to, they haven't even seen a mouse on that thing yet. They said it's a proposed area. And if that line of thought is true, you can fence off that whole entire mountain because something can live up there. It's proposed habitat for something. So we got to find a way to work through this because we're not going to quit.
And Mr. Mosley is another example of those, the fences, the enclosures. Communication with the county should have been done on that. Number one, we have to plow snow in the wintertime. You have a fence that is right along the very edge. Where are we going to go with that snow? If we get into it, we can hang up with the blades on it and push it. It becomes a liability to the county also. So again, the communication before putting any of these up should have been, we should have been able to go through and sit with the road department, with the attorney, and have some communication, cooperative agreement on it.
Well, I was assured, I asked this question of my road person and the individuals that are the contracting representatives for us on that. Was that considered relative to the snow removal? And I was told that there was a conversation with the county road department. Now, you didn't bring it before here, so if that didn't happen, then that's something that we're gonna end up really dealing with. Because obviously snow is gonna be a problem on those fences and vice versa. So it was not summarily dismissed and not addressed. That was one of the things that I brought up personally. It was like, those fences, we gotta have room for snow removal and, maintenance and upkeep of those. So if that's still a problem, then that has to be worked through as well, but.
That hadn't been addressed, that hadn't been changed on Tom's part, has it?
I know Tom spoke to, I think his counterpart at the Forest Service, but the fences were still placed in a manner that is going to hinder plowing. And I don't know why that decision was made, but Tom did raise the concern, I guess, in a different section of the forest last year. The plows actually took out portions of the fence and the fence had to be reconstructed. So it's a known issue.
We can follow up on that with your roads department again and ensure that we're aware of and figure out what we can do about that.
Have you been up there to see that second enclosure that they've fenced off? I know you went up there the first time I went up there, but I went up there with the Gosses not too long ago, RB and I went up. And this new fence that they put up, have you seen that?
There's a number of fences, so the second one, I'm not sure, can you describe
Was it on
which
the-
drainage?
It's on the Penasco.
Penasco.
The Penasco?
It's not quite finished when we were up there, but they were expecting them to
next
keep their
to,
cattle off.
Next to their loading pens.
The loading
Yeah.
pens? No, I have not seen that since it's been
You should
constructed.
go see it with your own eyes.
Okay.
The size of it is ridiculous. And just like when we went up for that first visit and you were with us that day, and we had that fenced area, those little areas, and the grass was this tall and everything else looked like it had been mowed down. And I asked, what is this for? And they said they put that in there to see how untouched, ungrazed, how tall that grass would be. And I mean, it was this tall. And at that time, it was really dry up there. And I mean, I'm just a country girl, but that grass didn't grow that much in a year. And so when I asked about that, the guy from New Mexico State actually admitted, well, we haven't really changed those like we're supposed to. That's probably 3 or 4 years of growth. So to me, you're basing these people's livelihood and grazing rights off of science that isn't even right. They're not even following what they said they're going to follow to say if they have to move their cattle off of that area. And now we've been blessed with some rain, so I'm sure there's more grass up there than there was the last time I was up there. And yet the Gosses are still, their grazing herd has been minimized to 100 head.
Allow me to address the enclosures and the size thereof. And, we're putting those enclosures in place to protect critical habitat for endangered species, right? I didn't designate that critical habitat. That's Fish and Wildlife Service. But I do have to protect it and manage the multiple uses and the impacts to that. Those fences are going in to allow livestock grazing to occur on the remaining 127,000 acres or 126,000 acres of that allotment.
But the water goes right down the middle of those fences.
Yes, it does. And we can divert water. There's ways to provide for water. That's another fundamental of good livestock grazing systems is well-distributed water. We know that. And same with cattle. If so much of managing cattle is managing their choices, right? And they gravitate towards those areas that we're trying to manage for this critical habitat. So by allowing us to, by putting these fences in, it allows the rest of this without a lot of restriction on those areas because those are critical areas. So we see it a little differently. We don't see it as trying to remove livestock from the mountain. That's furthest from the truth.
When you reduce somebody from 500 head to 100, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much says it all to me. And I feel like the Endangered Species Act has become weaponized. And the federal government pulls out that card every single time. They want to limit somebody's rights and somebody's freedoms, and they say something's endangered.
Well, I suggest that that's a political process to change that law.
Back to the voting system.
Vicki, for the record, can you ask Travis when that Three Rivers fire started and how long it has been since we've not had an answer back on the investigation?
Before you answer it, would you consider that is actually germane to the discussion that you're having?
It's really not right now, Coy. I mean, that would probably be a separate letter, and I don't blame you for wanting to get an answer for the Three Rivers Fire, but I want to stick this letter that we're talking about today about for the ranchers.
Okay.
Because that's what we're on with the other counties we're involved in. But I would definitely not mind trying to go up the chain and find out about the fire if they'll give us
But
any more information.
Can you ask him when the fire started?
When
I
did the
don't
fire
remember.
start?
It's been a couple of years ago in April, I believe, if
I think it was April, but
I
I
don't
don't know
have
what
the-
day.
the
So
date.
it's been 2 years
Mhm.
since the Three Rivers fire, and we still don't have an update on where the investigation is on the cause of the fire. There's a lot of people that think that the Forest Service started it. A lot of people think that the reason why the Forest Service doesn't give an update is because the Forest Service started the fire. Travis, have you heard that?
I've heard that rumor rolling around, but we have no evidence of that.
You know how rumors get quashed? By giving us the facts of what started the fire. Then if the Forest Service didn't start it, who started it?
Hallelujah. Facts are important.
Could we get
I'd like to know it.
could we get a contact number from you for the law enforcement agency with the Forest Service? Maybe we can give them a call? See if
Yes,
they'll
I
give us an
can-
update?
I'll have to follow up with that. I'll have to get that. I
Yeah,
think I
you'll
have
get
on.
that to me, I'd
Sure.
appreciate it. All right, well, let's,
I have a comment. If Mr. Mosley or any of you, I used to work for the Bureau of
you need to come up so you can speak in the microphone. If you don't speak in the mic, nobody at home can hear you.
Nobody can hear you.
I'm Chuck Andres from La Luz. I used to work for the Bureau of Land Management under fire suppression. One of my jobs was fire investigations. And so I'd be willing to help you accommodate whatever we can with the Forest Service or Law Enforcement Division, because we need to get some answers. And
Okay.
I'll be willing to help you. So
That would be awesome.
that's it.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right, you ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right, I make a motion to consider partnering with Travis County, Lincoln County, Eddy County to send a joint letter to the United States Forest Service. Do I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, motion passes. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna,
Madam Chairwoman?
Yes.
If could, I'd request that we go to executive session and finish the rest of the meeting afterwards.
Okay.
As Mr. Esquivel is here. And,
Okay.
he needs to get back up to Albuquerque soon.
okay, I know, and I know Commissioner Matherly needs to get on the road too, so. All right, I make a motion.
Question. So are the county manager's report and county attorney's report, are you gonna live stream that then? If you're gonna go
I'm
to executive
assuming-
session, that's private, right?
Yeah,
So then you'll go back.
we come back into open session, yeah, so that'll go on. All right, I make a motion to hold an executive session under NMSA 1978. Let's see what to discuss the pending litigation with the courthouse and personnel matters. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
We gotta have a roll call.
It's a
on
roll
that.
Oh, you gotta do a roll call first.
Commissioner Markart?
Here?
Commissioner Matherly?
Yes,
Commissioner DuBois?
Here.
Okay,
and I'm gonna go with the rest of it.
okay. Okay, the matters discussed in the executive session were limited only to those matters specified in the motion for executive session of the Board of County Commissioners. Do we need a roll call? Okay.
Commissioner Markler?
Here.
Commissioner Matherly?
Here.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Here.
Okay. So we're going to go back to item number 21 on the new business. To consider approval of contingent commitment to construct a new district courthouse with the county financial commitment not to exceed $15 million while seeking other matching state resources. And before we vote on this, I have a few comments that I want to say on record. Okay, the matter of what we do with the courthouse has been ongoing for a number of years. After discussions with a number of officials connected to this issue, we believe the county is in a position to move forward in the best interest of our community. As we all know, there's an existing state statute that creates an Otero County obligation to provide an adequate courthouse facility. This has been subject to a disagreement. We believe we have the resources from the grocery receipt tax money and other funding from the federal government to partially commit to building a new courthouse that is estimated to cost $25 to $30 million. While we cannot commit to the entire amount, we can commit up to $15 million for the project at this time with a contingency that includes a request for matching state funding. We have had discussions with state officials about securing the other half of the funding to build a new courthouse. Given the surplus of revenue being projected, we believe the timing is right and that it is reasonable to ask the state assistance of at least half of the amount to build a new courthouse. We're also working on a land donation on the north side of town. Finally, we believe there is also the possibility to move the magistrate courthouse into existing courthouse after some more discussions with the state. We believe that move would preserve our downtown area with more foot traffic. This will take a cooperative effort on everyone's part and will not impose any kind of tax increase on our citizens. So based on these factors, I'd like to go ahead and make the motion. Got too many papers up here. Okay, I'd like to make the motion to consider approval of the contingent commitment to construct a new district courthouse with a county financial commitment not to exceed $15 million while seeking other matching state resources.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Hallelujah. Gonna move forward.
Yay.
Great news. Thank you, Marty. Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Okay, now we're going to move on to our commission reports. So Commissioner Matherly, what have you been up to?
Well, wasn't too long ago, we had GB Oliver got us a meeting with the new commander and his staff. Actually, the main commander wasn't there. It was his staff that came. I attended. I got RB to go, Pamela to go, Tom Porter with the road department, Matt with the EMS services. We all went. Eric from Wilson and Company came. We went. We had a very good meeting. I really think it was real eventful. We talked about stuff that we needed from Holloman. Holloman talked about stuff they need from us. It was a very joint working meeting. So one thing, just for example, they weren't even aware of anything, didn't even know about the African root.
Oh, wow.
So that was one of the big deals. So they're supposed to be following up on that. RB's gonna try to make their monthly meetings that they have out there to try to keep a communication. That's what we need. We just need to work with them, and if they need something, we need something, work together. Of course, I've been going to the meetings in Chaparral. Those people down there have quite a bit going on right now, so working with some people with RB on David Road, which is another road here in Greene County subdivision, Greene Country, I'm sorry. We got that issue taken care of. Tom and I went over to Las Cruces to a BLM meeting. It was a real good, again, there was several commissioners, managers from Deming, up north and the other counties. There was a bunch of people that showed up there. It was a good deal, and everybody's got the main problem of dumping. So dumping trash out on the, so they have some issues with Otero County, not issues, they have some ongoing deals that they're working with right now. They're trying to get worked out. So it was a good meeting. I hope we can all join together. A couple, what was it, 2 years ago, Pamela, we all met upstairs with the BLM and the state people too. Thought things were going to, it kind of died after that, so I'm hoping that this stays. And then like we talked about on the agenda, Tom and RB and we're working together to try to get that study for the Steve and Angelina. I got a letter back, RB got one too, from the Texas DOT on the state line and Highway 54 intersection. They considered a stoplight and stuff. They have their plan. They've done their study like what we're wanting to do. This is what they feel like is going to be the best option for the situation. And it's also probably about halfway between that intersection and the last intersection with the light. There's another intersection. They're going to do the same thing. So they're wanting, the letter was a little vague on the other intersection that they were comparing this to, and then they said that they were wanting to start work in January of 23. So we'll see if that happens. Also, I was hoping we would have a letter by this meeting, but RB assures me we'll have one by the next meeting on a letter drafted up to go to the New Mexico Department of Game and Fish on the elk population, trying to get them to, we got to do something. Yeah. It needs to be, one of the reasons why I was hoping it was this meeting, because before long, and it may already be too late, but when they put out the amounts of tags and stuff, which will be coming up in February, January's meeting, we may be too late. It may have to go till something till the following year, but at least we'll try to get something going. RB, Sheriff Black, myself, Jason Klein sat in a meeting one time. He realizes there's a problem. He had a plan that he presented. The state was going for it. The people in the meeting in Cloudcroft, they kind of shot that down. But something's got to be done. It's not, it's a deal with the ranchers, but it's also driving on the highways, safety issues. So anyway, that's pretty much everything I've been doing. So the other thing is wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a safe, Happy New Year.
All right, thank you.
Sounds good. I don't really have a whole lot to report. I just want to thank everybody. My time here is short, but I want to thank the staff. They've all been very cooperative. And the commissioners as well. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Sorry that I can't talk and my ears are plugged up. But anyway, and I want to thank the ITs. They've been just very generous to me.
Thank you. All right, since our last meeting, I attended a Zoom meeting with the Coalition of Arizona and New Mexico Counties, and it's kind of regarding the same issues we're talking about with our other 4 counties in New Mexico with the Forest Service. And I'm also going to attend an in-person meeting with them next week in Albuquerque. Not sure how I got hooked up with this group, but it's really a good group, and I've enjoyed their meetings. I also attended a Zoom meeting with Lincoln, Chaves, and Eddy counties and Attorney Margaret Byfield regarding these grazing issues, and I'm also going to go up to the New Mexico Cattle Growers Convention next week in Albuquerque and meet with Margaret. She's going to be doing a presentation up there, so I'm curious to go up there and see what I can learn. I went to the recount for the state audit of the election between Yvette Harrell and Gabe Vasquez, and I really want to thank all the volunteers that attended. And they gave of their time for 2 days, and they were all working together. They had good spirits. They were very kind to each other, and it was nice to see people from both parties working together to get something done. It was very nice, very organized. And yesterday I attended the Otero Soil and Water Conservation Legislative meeting, And I was grateful for that information. We talked about the dam work that needs to be done on the 3 dams that we have up in the Lincoln National Forest. And Gabe Vasquez also showed up to that, and he would like to help us with that. And I also wanted to mention that we lost a really vital member of our county recently with the passing of Yvonne Oliver. My family's known Yvonne and her family for generations, and it was a privilege and an honor to have her as a close family friend. She was from a pioneering family that lived the way we should all try to live, and with honor, hard work, and true love of the Lord. She will be sorely missed. And
Yes,
so
she will.
I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas also, and safe and happy holidays.
All right, Commissioners. In November, I attended a week-long virtual budget conference along with our finance department. Some of it was beneficial, other things directly relate to finance, but it was still informative. I wanted to let you know the bid for the jail privatization closed on the 6th. The evaluation committee will be meeting on Monday. We only got 1 bid. So we'll be bringing you a recommendation in January whether to award or not. And then don't get all excited. This is not your last commission meeting this year. Because the item today on our insurance could not be decided.
Right.
That has to be decided before January 1.
Okay.
So as soon as we get pricing, we're going to be calling you to schedule a special meeting.
Okay.
So we'll try to make it work for everybody.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. It was a short month, not a whole lot to report. Want to receive the 506 agreement with Fort Bliss. We got it back signed by the commander out there, so we have that on file. I will follow up with them and see if they have a timeline for the construction of those road crossings. Be good to know when we can expect those. So that's an update on that. New Mexico DOT reached out and confirmed that they had received our request for the OHV authorization on the highways around Cloudcroft, and what we'd submitted seemed to meet all their wickets. I just had a brief dialogue with them and asked them to let me know if there was anything additional that they needed in order to process that request. So they're working on that. The recount occurred this week as part of the independent audit that's required by statute. The independent auditors chose the second congressional district race for the recount that took place. There was a hand tally of a little over 2,000 ballots. That hand tally directly corresponded to the machine tally from the day of the elections. So a little bit of a check on how our elections are doing in the county. Based on that, it looks good. Machines are accurate. And still working on code enforcement. Got a little bit more time, and I'm dedicating that to establishing our procedures for pursuing those cases. And I've got 2 applications for my assistant.
Yay!
And we'll be having interviews soon and picking one of those.
One question back on the 506. When I went to Chaparral Monday, there was a line of tanks coming back out. I don't know if they'd been on the 506, but when I saw them, they were running along the railroad tracks, headed back toward El Paso. Are they required to stay off the 506, or are they?
They are supposed to be off the 506, and once those crossings are built, that's where they can cross. But they're not supposed to be traveling along it. And if we get any evidence of it, I do need that so I can contact them and let them know.
Maybe I can ask, well, I won't be able to get with Tom and go, maybe I can ask Tom or whoever running the road down there to come
Bobby
in
would
to.
know. Bobby Jones would know.
Would it?
The tanks have been on that road, I'm sure.
Yeah, if Bobby's coming in, but I just want to kind of keep an eye on that. I know Vance is the blademan, and then what's the other one? Juno from here, he runs this half of the 506. So maybe it's time to just run a little check and make sure. There will be a lot of traffic on it this next month, the next few weeks. That's why I was just kind of making. I haven't seen those tanks because we run El Chaparral once a month, you know, and then, but there was all kinds of truck, tank, big truck, low boy type stuff, tanks, pulling tanks, so they were coming from somewhere. But, okay, I'll call Tom and talk to him, see if he get the opportunity or something, just pop down there and look at it.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody have anything else?
We're good.
All right, so with that,
I'm losing my voice.
we're adjourned.